Despite being in the technology era, over 80% of companies in Kenya are still using paper documents. And using paper document is costing you a lot. So today we'll know how much it costs a company to use paper documents. So we're going to talk about 5 ways in which these paper documents are taking up a lot of your expenses. So we'll start from 1, the cost of paper. Averagely, a company uses around a reel per day. If we do the maths, if we look at the cost, an average cost of a good quality ream of paper is at 800 shillings. And then you're talking about using 1 ream per day. That is like, for 5 days, it will come to 4,000 shillings. And if we look at these 4,000 shillings, if we multiply by, that is 4,000 shillings per week times 52 weeks in a year. That would come to around 72,000. It's 72,000. And this one we are adding ink. We are assuming the company uses averagely 5,000 in buying cartridges for their printers, or replacing toners. Toners usually take longer, so it might cost less when they are using toner. But you're talking of an average of 432,000 shillings, Kenyan shillings per year on the lower side, on a company which is using paper documents in its everyday workflow processes. And this one, instead of using technology, which will minimize this cost. And if the company is completely using technology, then this cost will go to around nil. So this would be the cost of paper, cost of ink, cost of toner. There's machine maintenance, that is somebody to come and maintain the printer or the copier. Those are the costs that will affect your company. And in this era where companies are really trying to manage their costs, I think this would save you a lot if you can completely move to the digital space and forget about using paper. And then number 2, cost of storage. As the company grows, the more the use of paper documents. And the more the use of paper documents, the more the storage space. And so that is cost of storage. So the company will have to buy more cabinets, or even have a bit of company space to store, just an office area to store these documents. Let's give an example of Nairobi. Nairobi, an average office space in a good area is 100 shillings per square foot. So if, as the paper are increasing, the size of the office space being used by paper increases. So if you are to use even 300 square feet, that would cost you around 30,000 per month in terms of expense, or in terms of rental space for just storing paper. Mark you, if this can be converted into an activity that has an ROI, that would really make a difference in this, in the overhead cost of this company. So the company would save around 30,000. That is for 300 square feet that is used for storing these documents. The company would use it for other productive uses, or do away with this storage space altogether and save 30,000 Kenyan shillings. So the more the space, the more costly it is for the company. I would hope the company would move to the digital space completely and save this space and use this money for other essential needs. And then number 3, document search time. This time used for searching for documents, your team can use it for other productive uses. You find that the person searching for this document will stop doing other other jobs that are really bringing in income for the company and spend that time searching for a document that is being required either for a meeting or for a client. It could be a contract. So that time that is being wasted on searching for this document, your team can use it to do other important. Your team can use to do other productive work. I remember a story I was being told by one of our partners, whereby uh, an educational institution was being sued by a client. So they were looking for this contract that they'd stored. I think they'd had a client relationship for like 5 years and over. And as these documents accumulated, they'd moved some even to the stores. And now they didn't even have an idea where this contract was. And they were having a court case with their client. And this document was a necessary document for the proceeding. So he was telling me that they had to look for this document. They couldn't find this document. The staff looked for this document for weeks. They couldn't find it. They had to actually bring in an external support system to help them search for this document. And it took them a month to get this document. You can imagine the time that was wasted searching for this one document that could have been used for doing other productive work. They spent money on an outsourced support, which would not have been there in the first place. So it became very expensive. That was a very high cost that could have been avoided if this document was in the digital space. So the time taken to look for that document was costed them a lot of money. Then number 4, delivery time. If an office or if a company has different branches, and documents are being shared, they have to employ an office assistant to deliver this document, or they would use courier services, or for immediate delivery they would use riders, and this would cost money in terms of delivery. Just delivering document from one space to another one would cost them more. That is extra cost that could not have been used in the first place if they were using digital documents, because they could just share digitally. So they are wasting a lot of money delivering, which would also cost them time, because maybe this document would not reach on time. And then when it's internally, one staff moving from one office to the other one, taking documents to be signed for approval, wastes a lot of time. They have to take it from one office to another one to be signed. They don't get this person in this office. They have to move to another office. So by the time the document is fully signed, the time that is wasted in moving these documents around the office could be used for something else. So this one has also minimized efficiency in this office. And then number 5, information security. When you're storing these documents in paper format, how sure are you that these documents are completely secure? Because this is an office that even the people who are not, there are some documents which are very sensitive, and they are just specific people who are supposed to handle these documents. And then they are stored in a cabinet or stored in a specific area that has been specified for sensitive documents. And since this is an office where there's a lot of movement and there are many people within, you really cannot tell who was able to access this office. Somebody who was not authorized to access these documents can be able to access these documents. And this is not very secure. This is not a very secure way to store these documents, because the moment somebody who is not allowed to access this document gets this document and uses it for an unintended purpose, it can lead to fraud, and this would cost the company millions and millions of money, which could have been saved in the first instance if they had been in the digital space where they would have all the security measures put in place. So why are you still using paper documents? If you can move to this, if you can move to the digital space, it would save you millions. So why don't you start now?